What's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and here's my official game review for Murdered Soul Suspect. Now, this game was developed by Square-Enix, and in terms of plot, you pretty much will be playing the character named Ronan, who is a detective in the little town of Salem, and he's pretty much been investigating a series of murders caused by a killer going by the name of the Bell Killer, and the game actually begins with Ronan being killed. And really from that point on, you are then put in kind of a limbo state, and Ronan cannot move on to the afterlife until he has some unfinished business. He needs to find out exactly who murdered him and why this Bell Killer is going around killing girls around Salem. And really from that point on, it's really an overall crime detective type of game where you're really just trying to find clues that lead you to another section of the game for which you can kind of understand why the Bell Killer is targeting these particular people, why he's killing them in these particular ways, and really what you need to do in order to stop them despite the fact that you're already dead. Now, I have to tell you guys, I was actually a little bit excited for playing this game when I first saw it at E3 back in 2013. And I have to tell you that although my anticipation for this game was a little bit on the fence, this is not a bad game, but it's kind of underwhelming. It really begins with the story. Now, I'm not saying that the story is bad, but it's really kind of one-dimensional. There are only really two characters throughout the entire game that get any sort of real sense of development, and that is your character of Ronan and another character named Joy, who's really a medium who is actually able to communicate with Ronan, and you really do kind of form a little bit of a partnership. You need her because, you know, she can move material things, and she needs you because she can't really do a lot of ghostly things that require her to really solve a mystery of her own involving the Bell Killer. Now, another problem that I also have with the game is the gameplay. Now, this, to its core, is an exploration crime game in which pretty much all you'll be doing is going from one location to the other and just looking for clues. But that's really it. You're really just going from one spot to another and finding clues. And when you get to a room, you're going to scan a certain clue, and then pretty much once you've found all the clues in a room, you're then going to close the crime scene, and then you have to pick out exactly which clues are important, and then that will give you a flashback kind of showing you exactly what's the next section that you need to travel to. Like, let's say you walk into an apartment building and you pick out 3 clues, and they tell you that, you know, this particular item belongs to a graveyard. So then the next section that you go in is to the graveyard. And really, that is all you're doing throughout the entire game. You just walk from one point to another, solve the clues here, find out where to go, you go there. And it doesn't even help with the combat system. And I can tell you the combat system for this game is pretty much non-existent. There's only one type of enemy throughout this entire game that you will be dealing with, and they're pretty much demons. And pretty much what these demons are just kind of red dementors from Harry Potter. And how you kill them is kind of laughable. Now, what I'm going to tell you, you're not going to believe me when I say this, but I didn't make this up, and I'm not kidding. But in order to kill these demons, all you're doing is walking up behind them and pretty much giving them a wedgie. That's right. The only enemies in the game are dementors that are red that you give wedgies to. And the combat is really not even all that interesting. I mean, the fact that you're a ghost, it gives you the ability to kind of jump between certain people. It allows you to walk through walls, and these ghost demons really just walk in this pre-made pattern, and you just wait till they have their back to you, and then you walk up behind them and you give them a wedgie and they're done. And I have to tell you that there are maybe less than 15 encounters with these demons, and if I got it correctly, you're gonna kill less than 35 demons. There are literally less than 35 enemies throughout this entire game. It also doesn't help that there literally is no map, and there's absolutely no fast track. I mean, for a game that requires you to jump from one point of Salem to another, it would really be helpful if there was a way to really teleport from one point to another, since it is established that one of your ghostly powers is to teleport. But you're only allowed to teleport from maybe a couple of feet, or maybe through a small section of a wall. You can't really teleport from, say, a graveyard all the way to a mental hospital, which you do visit. But unfortunately, you only get a chance to visit these locations once. And it also really doesn't help that there's no map. So all throughout this entire game, if you don't have a marker that tells you where to go, you're not going to know where anything is. And this game is pretty much just filled with just extras that you can pick out, little trinkets that you can pick up that kind of give you little stories that explain certain things that happened in this certain location. And they're all little side missions where you can help other people who are ghosts who have trouble moving on, and those are really nice too, but it's really just padding. It's just these little side missions that are made to make the game longer than it actually has to be. I think that you could really beat this game in one sitting, and if it wasn't for me just wanting to do all these little extra games, I probably could have beaten this in probably 4 to 5 hours. And the fact that there is no difficulty change, it means that there's really no sense of replayability. So this really is not the type of game that I recommend that you would buy. This is probably a perfect type of rental game. And although it does have a good story, it is just completely overwhelming when it comes to exactly what the story ends up being about and the overall sense of gameplay. It's very limited and one-dimensional. This is the type of game you would expect to come out for like maybe the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1. So I'm very disappointed that we're getting a game like this on the PlayStation 4. So if I had to give this game a rating, I would give it a 5 out of 10. It's not entirely bad. There's certainly a number of good kind of story elements, and some of the powers of being a ghost are somewhat fun to play with, but there's really nothing here that says that you have to pick up this game and own it. Just play it once and then return it to wherever you rented it or borrowed it from a friend by. If you like this game review, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to keep track of me on my future game reviews. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.